Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Troy, and I'm here, of course, with a FAUXCAST video. I wanted to make this on the film or whatever on camera, but I'm backed up. It's like a lot of books in January that I still want to talk about, but I'm reading things that are completely different from high fantasy here in February, and it's just like, I got to get some of this stuff out of my system right now. So this is a quick way for me to do it. So, I appreciate those who are joining me here on this voiceover. So I want to come back and talk about my reading of The Great Hunt, which is the second book in Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time series. As you guys know who have been following me as of late, I read the first book, The Eye of the World, earlier in the month of January. And then in the middle of the month, I read The Great Hunt. And I have got to say, I'm so still addicted to this series. I'm so still excited to read the next book. I mean, it's just like I don't read a lot of high fantasy, but taking on this task of reading the Wheel of Time series here in the year of 2020 is just like one of the best things I could have done to have thrown myself in this particular genre. Because as I've said before, although there's these bits and moments of predictability in some of the plotting and character motivations and intentions, I've got to say without a doubt, I love these books because anything can happen. And I love The Great Hunt in particular because I'm now learning most severely, if I said that wrong, which I'm sure I did say it wrong, is that no character other than our pretty much our primary characters can be trusted. I love this book because there was a lot of intrigue within some of the characters who have associated themselves with our main group of characters. But before I get into that, we got to know what The Great Hunt is about. So, okay, tie in the title of this book with The Great Hunt. It is in reference to this hunt or this situation in which throughout the years or ages within this world that Jordan has created, there has always been they call it the Great Hunt for the horn of Valir. I believe it's something like that. But anyway, the point is that it's a horn. They're looking for a horn. It's this legendary item that no one has ever laid eyes on. And it has these superb magical abilities in which it raises up or resurrects dead heroes throughout the ages or dead soldiers throughout the ages to be another component or a force to combat against the Dark One. We know the Dark One is like the big major threat in this series. But anyway, the point is that no one has ever laid eyes on this horn. It's legendary. People are not even sure it exists. And throughout all the ages and millenniums and such, many people have died trying to find this horn. Luckily for our cast of characters, which I want to name them now. We have Moraine, the Aes Sedai. We have land, her water. We have, I know it sounds funny, I'm so country, I say it's water, it sounds like I'm saying water, but we have land. We have our main protagonist from the Edmonds Fields 5. We have Rand, our main and primary hero. Then we have his two friends, Perrin, the blacksmith's son, as well as Matt, the jokester. Then we have our two ladies. We have Egwene, kind of the town village girl hanging out with the boys kind of chick. I really don't know where that word chick came from because that's really not even in my vocabulary. But then we have one of my personal favorites, Nynaeve. But my point is that at the end of the first book in the series, The Eye of the World, these guys have found the Horn of Valir. And they found it actually within a chest that was inside of the Eye of the World. And speaking of the Eye of the World, I was kind of like, you know what? It makes sense. When I read the end of the book, I always had it in my mind, the Eye of the World. I really couldn't even, I thought it was like a really abstract kind of thing that these guys were heading towards. But once I saw what Jordan did or what he illustrated the Eye of the World as, which I don't know if I can give it away here, but it's basically like this pond of sort, this lake. It made sense to me because I was like, well, life started within water, so that just kind of connected with me. But now, okay, so I'm thinking I'm taking it too far. But anyway, our group of heroes, they got the Horn of Valir, and they take it with them, of course, in their protection. And unfortunately, there comes a moment where the horn is subsequently stolen from them. And this is one of the things I love about this book. As I said, it has a lot of moments where you don't know who to trust, and that is because while they were in their safe hold of called Faldara, and it's a really neat city that's, it has a lot of towers and stuff, and I get a real big Asian samurai vibe from this city, really. But they return to Faldara, which is a place with a lot of, like I said, towers of watchtowers and high walls. But it's within this place that they, you would assume was a very secure fortress, a safe place to store the horn as they recover and go about their next proceedings. But as I was saying, that's the interesting part that I love about this book, is because it was stolen from within, basically. There could be a handmaid. I don't know where that word came from, but it could be a maid of sorts who was actually working for the Dark One. It could be another soldier within this fortress who was working for the Dark One. There was actually an assassination attempt on one of the side characters, the major player within this series, that took place within the fortress. But as I was saying, that's what I love, is because I don't know who to trust. And there were so many well-written and drawn characters who put me on the edge of my seat as to, can this character be trusted? So with that being said, as I said before, The Great Hunt is a big improvement on the pacing of the first book, The Eye of the World. With these books being so thick, with so many characters and so many story threads, I don't know what Jordan has done, but he really keeps me glued and interested to follow up with each different story narrative thread as we proceed forward. So even though there's breaks between paths that certain characters take, I'm always anxious and excited to not only go into whatever the preceding chapter shows with another character's story arc, but to return back to the one that I previously left. So he leaves you on the edge of your seat here. And that's one of the things I'm starting to really enjoy about this series, is that, it's not straightforward. There's a lot of characters. He does a great job of managing those characters and keeping me, the reader, from not losing focus from each of their individual personalities and motivations and arcs and agendas, to the point where I can keep up. But it just offers so much, especially as each of these branching characters go out into different directions within the world that he's created, and we get to see different things. Like one of the things that I enjoyed really mostly, well, not mostly, but one of the things I really enjoyed in this book was how we finally got to go into Tar-Valon, where the character Nynaeve as Egwene returning to, as opposed to helping to find the horn to study up to be an Aes Sedai, as they have some capabilities linked to being able to wield magic. So they're going to work on that. But I think the biggest story thread to focus on is that of the character of Rand, as this really interesting place I love about this book is that there's so much more angst going on with him, which I do appreciate a lot of, well, not a lot, but some angst in my characters, because there's some revelations that came about toward the end of the last book, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it, that he is, number one, the dragon reborn, and number two, he is able to wield magic. As you guys know, males who wield magic, they have that whole thing where it's an affliction for them to wield magic because it causes them to go insane and have the possibilities of destroying the world. But he has to keep that under control, and only a few characters know that about him. But eventually, he opens up a little bit more to his closest friends, because if people ended up finding out about Rand's ability to channel magic, that puts him as an immediate threat. So like I said, a lot of intrigue, a lot of covertness going on here, and I like how that stuff ties into his relationships with his friends, as he has to learn which one of his friends he can trust with this knowledge about himself, and which one that he cannot. So that built a lot of angst. But one of the things that I'm really interested in knowing about is, with this whole concept that for male characters to wield magic in this world, I'm trying to figure out if for them to go insane, do they go insane from the need to repress that voice telling them to access this power? Because there was a lot of struggle in that with Rand. So I'm trying to figure out, is it that voice telling them to, like I said, repress using magic that causes him to just burst out with this energy and destroy the world, and et cetera, Or is it the actual magic or the use and wielding of the magic itself that once it's released, it just, lets loose? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that makes any sense or not. I was looking at it like, well, Rand, I feel bad for you, bro, because I know you keep hearing this voice telling you to use magic, and I know you getting to the point where you just kind of fed up with this voice, right? You're so annoyed at this voice. It's telling you, listen, use magic. Or is it just the carefreeness of just wielding the magic that is what's going to make these characters go insane? So it's really interesting. I just am so loving that, because Rand, man, it was a battle, but this right here, The Great Hunt, was amazeballs. Okay, it was amazeballs. There was a lot of things going on. I can't even put all of this in one video, how much was going on, especially towards the tail end of the book. I did not see what happened coming. I didn't see what coming. And what I mean by that is, well, I can't give that away, but a lot of things happen, a lot of surprises coming along, and this series, I'm just loving it. Like I said, it just, you never know what's gonna happen. I still cannot believe what happened at the end of this book when Nynaeve and Egwene and what's another girl named Elaine and Min stepped through their portal at the end of this book. I was like, I did not expect that. It's so crazy. I did expect the character of Tom to come back, but what Jordan did with him, totally unexpected. I did not expect it. Like he basically wild stuff. But yeah, I'm so loving this series. This is not a review video at all. It's just me talking about what I love about this series, or this book in particular. I'm excited to read the next book. And that's kind of it. It really is it. So The Great Hunt was amazing. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It just was great. It fulfilled what it is that I was hoping to get out of this particular book series, and it happened.